Welcome back to Unit 6, the measurement unit. We're going to move on to Lesson 8, which is capacity and volume. If you do not have your notebook with you, please pause the video, grab your notebook because you're going to need to take note of a couple of measurements, and I'm going to check these measurements in class tomorrow. So if you do not have your notebook, pause the video and retrieve your notebook. We use both terms, capacity and volume, to measure the size of three-dimensional objects. Capacity refers to measures of liquid or gases and the containers that hold them. So we'll talk about things like water in a swimming pool, soup in a can, or soda in a bottle. We measure capacity in milliliters or in liters. We use volume when we refer to the measures of space an object occupies. In this case, we are not using liquid or gas. We're talking about, say, filling a copy paper box with dictionaries. So we're talking about the measure of space an object occupies. We could talk about a bale of hay. We could talk simply about a box or a bar of soap. We measure volume in cubic centimeters. And remember, we've written cubic centimeters as centimeters to the third power. And if you remember the third power, because we have a length, we have a width, we have a height of an object. Or cubic meters, which is meters cubed. Here's the part that you're going to need to write down, please. We can convert between measures of volume and capacity. So I may ask you how to fill a swimming pool, how much water fills a swimming pool. And if I go back, we're going to talk about filling a swimming pool in milliliters, or probably liters, because if it's a larger swimming pool, milliliters will be too large a number. We want to convert to liters. But we can convert between liters and cubic centimeters or cubic meters. And the way we do that are these simple formula. The first is 1 cubic centimeter equals 1 milliliter. So let's say we're doing an experiment and I need to measure out 10 milliliters of water. I could also talk about the milliliters of water in terms of volume and say that 10 milliliters of water takes up the space of 10 cubic centimeters, because 1 centimeter is equal to 1 milliliter. A pretty simple conversion. They get a little bit more difficult from here. The second conversion I'd like you to write in your notebook is 1 meter cubed is equal to 1,000 liters. So in our same example, well, let's say I'm measuring out 2,000 liters of water to fill a small, say, a kicking swimming pool or a child swimming pool. I can also talk about that water in terms of volume and say that I have 2 cubic meters of water. Because if 1,000 liters twice is 2,000 liters, 1 cubic meter twice is 2 cubic meters. And finally, the last conversion you'll need to know is that 1,000 cubic centimeters is the same as 1 liter. And again, say I have a 2-liter bottle of soda pop. I could ask you about the volume that the soda pop occupies, and that would be 2,000 cubic centimeters. So we'll convert back and forth between capacity, and volume. And if you'll notice, what I did was I arranged the conversions so that the volume measurements are all on the left and the capacity measurements are all on the right. So let's practice converting between these guys. If I have 2,400 milliliters, how many liters is that? And remember that there are 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter. And think back to our multiplying and dividing by 10 days early in the school year. When we move from a smaller unit of measurement, such as milliliters, to a larger measure of units, such as liters, we divide by 1,000. And in this case, we're dividing by 1,000 because there are 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter. And we remember when we divide, our decimal point goes which way? To the door. So if I'm going to divide my milliliters, I have 2,400. I'm going to divide by 1,000. So I'm going to move my decimal point 1, 2, 3 spaces toward the door. 1, 2, 3 spaces. So how many liters are in 2,400 milliliters? 2.4. Remember also that when I move from a larger unit, such as liters, to a smaller unit, I'm going to multiply by 1,000. And again, I'm going to use 1,000 because there are 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter. And which way do I move the decimal point when I multiply? I move it toward Matthew. So how many milliliters? I'm going to move 1, 2, 3 zeros. So 1, 2, 3. I need to fill in a 0, and how many milliliters do I have? 6,200. If you refer back to page 229, when we talked about the cubic meter, we remember that 1 cubic meter, and thank you to Josh and Luca who built our cubic meter along with Jesse, we remember that it's 1 million cubic centimeters. So if I have 5 cubic meters, I have 5 million cubic centimeters. If I have 10 milliliters, how many cubic centimeters do I have? I'm going to multiply by 10. I'm going to multiply by 10. I have 10 cubic centimeters. I'll slide the screen down and let you finish off the last 4. 79 cubic centimeters is how many milliliters? 79. 2 liters is how many cubic centimeters? 2,000. 250 centimeters is how many, cubic centimeters is how many liters? Well, if 1 liter is 1,000 cubic centimeters, what did I do? Remember, am I going to divide or am I going to multiply? A smaller unit to a larger unit? I'm going to divide. And if I move back, I'm going to divide by 1,000. Why? Because there are 1,000 cubic centimeters. So I'm going to divide by 1, 2, 3. Divide, I go to the door. 1, 2, 3. So how many liters are in 250 cubic centimeters? Right, 0.25 or 0.250 if you wish. 3 cubic meters equals 3,000 liters. And last, 1,000 liters equals 1 cubic meter. So 4,500 liters, 4.5 cubic meters. We won't worry about that until tomorrow. Remember, make sure you have the conversions in your notebook. I'm going to check them tomorrow. All right.